for our presentation on SolarWinds AppStack. Our presenter today is Pete DiStefano, Principal Technical Marketing Manager at SolarWinds. Now, Pete is a Principal Product Marketing Manager at SolarWinds who works primarily with their application management tools. His experience includes over 25 years in the tech product marketing management, including companies like IBM, BMC Software, and Symantec. Before we get started, let me introduce Flycast Partners. Flycast Partners offers best-in-class implementation services and training in IT service management, IT asset management, IT operations management, IT security, enterprise service management, and workload automation spaces, all using ITIL best practices. Our professional services team has well over 5,700 professional services engagements, both on-site and remote. And as a company, Flycast Partners has nearly 1,300 regular customers that come back over and over again throughout Canada and the United States. I encourage you to reach out to us at 844-FLYCAST. That's 844-359-2278. Or you can visit our website and chat live with one of our IT experts Monday through Friday, from 8:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. They are happy to get you data sheets and white papers and demo links, anything under the sun that you may be looking for or want to chat about. In addition, you can also email us at info@flycastpartners.com. Now, during today's presentation, we will be taking your questions live. So if you'll type those questions in the question section provided within this GoToWebinar platform, I will read those off at the appropriate times to Peter, and he'll answer as many questions as we can within the time allocated for today's webcast. As we get started, I'm going to be passing control over to Peter momentarily, but let's start it out with a poll question first. The question we're going to start out with right now is, do you currently use any SolarWinds products? So go ahead and we want to know, how many of you guys currently use SolarWinds? Who is using a SolarWinds type of product right now? And we'll give this about a minute, minute and a half or so. Oh, wow, we've got about 50% of you have already voted, so that's good. The votes just keep coming in. It's 50-50 right now. %60 of you have voted, so let's keep those numbers going up. Oh, interesting results so far. And we'll give it another 50 seconds. I want to give everyone an opportunity to go ahead and cast their vote as to whether you currently use SolarWinds or not. Those numbers keep going up. All right, about 75% of you have voted. We'll give it a few more seconds here. Let anyone else who hasn't voted vote. And the votes are still coming in. Keep them coming, folks. Let's keep them coming. All right. And in about 5 seconds, we'll go ahead and close out our poll, and we'll take a look at the results together. We've got just over 80% of you that have voted so far. Any last minute votes, go ahead and get those in there. Oh, they're still coming. There we go.
Rich, why don't we tally these up so we can get moving on?
All right, you got it. We'll tally them right now. So we'll close out the poll, and let's go ahead and share out those results. So this is what you said. How many of you said are currently using SolarWinds? All
Cool.
right, and I'm going to go ahead and turn control over to Peter and let Peter get going.
Great. And by the way, the reason I asked, by the way, my name's Pete DiStefano, as Rich said. I've been with SolarWinds about 3 years, and I've got lots of gray hair. I've been around a while in tech, and real excited about this. We got a really nice group here today, so I hope we can add some value. And the reason I asked that first question is I'm talking about a function as part of a platform. I'm not even talking about as product that you can buy. And I want to make sure that for those who don't understand what SolarWinds is, I'll do a little bit of context setting. And then for those of you who know SolarWinds, and I'm not sure how familiar you are or aren't with the AppStack and how it's used, but I think you'll also find this interesting. So thank you for doing that. Rich, if you can set up the next poll.
Yeah, I can do that. Yep.
I'm going to start talking though, and if you guys don't mind me, talking a little bit while the poll is there.
In my current role, I am responsible for application monitoring, infrastructure monitoring, network monitoring, or all of the above. Oh, a lot of you are all of the above.
Cool. Hey, Rich, can they see my screen right now or just the poll?
Just the poll. Until we close the poll, they won't be able to see your screen.
All right. So if you guys can multitask, I'm going to talk a little about who SolarWinds is real quick. We've been around since 1999, so we've been around a very long time, and we've built products that focus on a technical audience, an IT professional, whether you're an operational person in a network infrastructure, depending on the size company, you could be wearing that utility belt for all of those things. Network management, security, products. We've got help desk offerings, database offerings. We've got both on-premise, which we're mostly known for, but we've been building out our SaaS portfolio here over the last several years. There's a slide in the deck that you'll see after the poll's over that kind of talks about how big we are. There's lots of numbers here, lots of customers. The one thing I will call out before I move on is we've got something called THWACK. And it's a weird word, THWACK. And THWACK at SolarWinds.com, THWACK is a community. And you don't have to be a customer. We have got over 150,000 members. And it's a great place for technical folks go to engage with other technical folks. You can absolutely ask questions. You can get to the product team if you want to talk about SolarWinds, but it's a really great community. It's free of charge. We've got a group called Head Geeks that lived in the world that you are, and they talk a lot about a lot of thought leadership topics. Everything from the impact of a COVID as example to what's going on in the world of IT and the transformations companies are going through. So if you get a chance, if you're not familiar with THWACK, I encourage you to do that. How are we doing on the poll?
I'm going to go ahead and close the poll out, and we'll look at those results real quick. That way you can get going. It looks like we have 44% of you are all of the above, and then we've got 22% application monitoring, 24% infrastructure monitoring, 9% network monitoring. I don't know how that holds up to what you were expecting, Pete.
No, this is actually great insights. It's funny, the AppStack primarily is on the application infrastructure side, but if those of you familiar with SolarWinds, you might not be aware that it also does play into the network. We'll get into that, but that really is helpful. Thank you for that. Now, look, we're 7 minutes in. We have 23 minutes, so I'm going to move pretty fast here.
Go ahead and share your screen for us.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to share. There we go.
While he's doing that, folks, I want to remind you, you can go ahead and type those questions in there for us as well. And your screen looks fantastic. It looks good, sir.
Great. All right. So again, I'm not going to go back over this, but SolarWinds, we've been in business for a very long time. And just as the world of IT is going through a transformation, as we are as well, just like you would expect, we're listening to customers and we're trying to constantly improve and deliver solutions that mimic what the world is that you're dealing with. And today's world's not just on-prem. For those of you, on-prem it's not going away, not for a very long time, but there's very few companies we deal with, big or small, that don't have some element in the cloud, some combination of both, combination of on-prem, multi-cloud, and our products need to work in that environment. So what are we going to talk about today? I'm sorry, before I get there, just real quick, for those of you who might not be familiar with SolarWinds or the Orion platform, the AppStack function that I'm going to talk about, this very powerful out-of-the-box function, it applies to all of those product modules that are in the orange. So there's something called the Orion platform. It is a common integrated platform, and that integrated platform provides you common dashboarding, common maps, common performance tools and alerting. And one of the examples of that common service is the AppStack that we're going to talk about today. But as you can see here, across the Orion platform, there are quite a few products, all of them plugging in to this common environment. So what we're going to talk about today with the AppStack applies to these products that are in orange. We'll talk more about that as I go in through this. So what am I trying to do today? I want you to understand how you can leverage the AppStack to gain insights into all the elements that support the application stack, okay? But providing a unified visualization. So a very simple to see visualization that gets you very quick insights into the overall health of your application. That same tool can help you quickly get to pinpoint root cause of a potential problem and how that problem or that potential issue relates to other elements in the stack. And not only is, say, a physical or virtual server and its issues the reason the application is slower down, but what other applications, what other elements might that be causing? So that's kind of what we're going to do today as I go through the AppStack. And again, hopefully this is a tease for you to say, hey, I want to learn more about this because I'm going to be doing this pretty fast. So many of you might have heard our mantra before. It used to be simple, powerful, and affordable. We're still extremely affordable, and we'd love to go up against just about anyone who does what we do. But many of you know that back in December, the Russians came and caused some issues. And since then, the amount of effort, the amount of development work in how we build software, the way we treat our entire business, we are really focused now on simple, powerful, yes, affordable, but also secure. So let's talk about simple and powerful in the context of the AppStack. One of the beautiful things about it is anyone can use it. You don't have to have intimate knowledge of the application. You don't have to be a DBA. You don't have to be a master in virtualization, and you can get value out of it. So regardless of what your role, whether you're looking at this at a high level or looking at it doing very deep level troubleshooting, the AppStack is very powerful. So from a simplicity perspective, it's auto-instrumented. You don't have to do a darn thing. It's built for you automatically. As you build you add modules to the Orion platform, it increases in its value. The whole Orion product set leverages your very universal green, yellow, red. Red is bad, green is good, yellow is on its way to bad. So it makes it very easy from a visualization perspective to focus on areas that clearly have issues. And again, and I'm going to show you this in a moment, you could get a very broad look at everything. And depending on how big your environment is, that can be a little crazy, a little bit overwhelming. Or you can set up a visualization specific to what you care about. If all you care about is 2 or 3 applications that support a division in your company, you can set up your AppStack visualization to do that. If you've got the ops for the whole thing, you can do that. If you're just looking at stuff that is specific to a location, or you just want to look at your databases, all of this is very easy to do, and I'll show you some of the filtering. On the powerful side, I talked about this, being able to understand the relationships between the elements in the stack, understand what's dependent on what, and being able to do that, again, without a lot of knowledge of the applications, a lot of documentation, but just through a visualization. And then especially when it comes to troubleshooting, now that I've got this visualization, I said, okay, I need to poke at this one area. I just hover, I get information, I click and click, I can drill down, go deeper and deeper. So 2 quick definitions of what the AppStack is and why do you care. So first, I'm going to read the first one. The AppStack is an interactive visual map that displays a detailed view of your environment so you can identify the root cause of performance availability issues. Use the AppStack to assess the overall health of your environment, to troubleshoot specific and related problems, highlight relevant elements across the application stack, regardless of whether the application is on-premise, in the cloud, or hybrid. Definition number 2. The AppStack is one of several Orion platform shared services, saves you time, makes you smarter, and helps you keep your systems up and running. Now, I'm not sure which of these 2 definitions you like. They're both accurate. I was having a little bit of fun with the first one. It's a mouthful, but I think you care most about the result of using the AppStack is the definition in number 2. So just want to have a little bit of fun, but that actual definition in the first one is accurate. But I think it's all about, in today's world, if you're responsible for keeping systems up and running, it's time is your enemy. So how can I reduce the amount of time? How do I get accuracy? How does the intelligence built into a system make me smarter? And the end result is, how do I keep my customers happy because I have no impact to those applications? You'll hear us at SolarWinds talk a lot about 4 elements when you talk about systems monitoring. Do I have visibility? Can I troubleshoot? Can I do capacity planning and optimization? Those last 2 things are so important, and we seem to always be fighting fires, so we don't spend enough time doing that. The more time we'd spend on capacity planning and optimization, the less troubleshooting we'd be doing. And the solutions we're talking about here today, not just the AppStack is one element, but from SolarWinds, they help you achieve the life cycle of monitoring, which includes all 4 of those. But today we're going to talk about visibility and troubleshooting. So, actionable alerts with connected insights. So, the products we have, the Orion platform's got a great proactive alerting mechanism. But when you look at these visualizations and the color coding, it's another way to be alerted when there's an issue. But not only are you aware there's an issue, but you've got the connected insights. So you can quickly see if one issue might be causing other issues, and then you can look at it cascading and again, get to the root cause. The next thing is troubleshooting. And it's not just about quickly coming up with a root cause, it's quickly coming up with an accurate root cause. I'm sure you've all been involved with, hey, we think it's the network and you pass it over to those guys, or we think it's the database, or we think it's the application, or it could be the physical infrastructure. Being able to accurately pinpoint and do it fast, that's the key. And the AppStack is a beautiful tool to help that. There's another shared service in Orion called the PerfStack, and that's another very powerful tool. I'll talk about that briefly if we have time. Okay, so let's take a quick look. There's 2 screenshots here. The first one, and I'm about to go into a demo, but the first one's showing an overall environment of all your applications. There's a lot, it's a big old Christmas tree. There's red, yellow, green, and we can talk about filtering that in a moment. But what's really cool about the application stack, if you go from this high level visualization and you drill in to a database, you drill into an application, or you drill into a server, in addition to the information provided in those drilled down dashboards, you will always get an AppStack widget. Well, the widget is simply all the elements, but just the elements related to whatever you've drilled into. So let's just say I've drilled into a virtual server. It's going to show me what elements above the virtual server that virtual server is serving when it's the database and the application. But it'll also show me the storage, maybe the arrays, and down to the LUNs and the storage devices that are attached and being leveraged by that virtual server. So you've got 2 approaches here, and I'm going to show you right now both of those. So let me just click over here, and I'm going to go over to our demo system. So real quick, this is just a home page to an interactive demo we have. So any one of you can go to the SolarWinds.com and you can click on this interactive demo, and you can learn all sorts of things about the Orion implementation. And if you can see here in the top right, there's this guided tour. I actually created a troubleshooting applications with the AppStack, so you can actually step through a troubleshooting example if you choose to. Okay, so let's go here now to, let me go here to a full AppStack environment. So what you're going to see here is groups, containers, chassis, applications, databases, the transactions that are running, the steps for each of those transactions, down to the servers, the hosts. You can see here the virtual environment, all the way down to storage arrays, and even if you're running an API integration. So all of this in one place. You'll see to the left, I can easily filter just show me the ones that are down or critical or in warning state. And then I've got all sorts of filters. I can filter my Azure environment, my Oracle environment, my Windows environment. I've got a couple of them here. Another thing I can do, again, this is a little bit overwhelming when you're looking at everything, and this is purposely done this way for our demo site, but I click on this show names, and now at least I got a little more intelligence. Okay, what kind of applications? Well, I've got my IIS applications, I got Exchange here, SQL Server, and what's kind of cool about it, as I mentioned, just by hovering over it, I learned, hey, I'm already at 70% memory, but only 1% utilization. But there's another issue, the application is down, right? So I can drill in. But here's what's kind of cool. So I'm going to click on this one IIS application. And what's going to happen is everything else is going to gray out except for the ones that apply to that IIS. Well, this is kind of hard to read. There's this little thing called the spotlight in the top right. When I click on it, it's going to kind of give me the widget. Now, here's an example where this is the stack supporting this application. Now, this IIS application is red, but you'll notice the volumes, even though the virtual environment, you've got several here that are in the warning state, and that's because they're getting close, 80%, but there's nothing down here. And in fact, this is an actual application problem. But you can see here how quickly I can go right to where the issue is. Now, if I had red in the data stores and in the server, then I got to do a little more troubleshooting, which obviously I can do. And as I mentioned earlier, I can double click, I can hover and get information, but I can double click, and now it's going to drill right into the details of that application. And there's all sorts of information here that I can get. Now, I'm not going to get into server and application monitor because that's what we're looking at here. But what I did want to show you is, remember I told you this AppStack widget is always going to show up in your drill downs. So whether you're looking at details on CPU and there's events in here and availability of the application, all sorts of data, including how the application is interfacing with other applications and is there any issues with network packets, et cetera. There's lots of information here, but I also have my AppStack widget. Now, what I wanted to show you here is, you see here, I clicked on IIS. So now all of my IIS servers and all the applications, databases associated with all of my IIS environment is here. So if I'm just responsible for my web environment or my web servers, Microsoft web servers, I might use this as my AppStack. In another case, I thought I had it here. Yeah, this is for my SQL Server environment. So now I've filtered this to give me all of the SQL Server environment. And again, I can always go to this show names, et cetera, and it'll go through all that. So lots of capability in the AppStack. I'm going to switch back real quick here to my presentation. But the point I wanted to make, we still have about 9 minutes left. I want to make sure there's time for questions. So let's talk about what fuels the AppStack. Remember, it's auto-instrumented, it's automatic. You don't pay for it. It's part of the core Orion platform. So if you have SAM, it runs on the Orion platform, so you're running Orion, and you now have the AppStack for SAM. Well, what are the modules that contribute to the application stack? So server and application monitor. You got your virtualization manager. Web performance monitoring gives you the end user perspective, synthetic transaction monitoring. Then you've got your storage resource manager, goes into very specific storage subsystems. Now, SAM will give you some storage information. SAM gives you virtualization information. But when you add vMan and you add SRM, you get another level of detail and then a lot of management capabilities, especially with Virtualization Manager. Now, a lot of people weren't aware, but Database Performance Analyzer also contributes to the AppStack. And something a lot of people weren't aware of, even NPM. So if you are a SolarWinds customer and you're using our Network Performance Monitor, there are people that might have NPM and they don't have SAM for server and application monitoring. Well, NPM will do some basic server monitoring, So if you have NPM, as long as you have one of these other modules like vman, WPM, SRM, NPM will also contribute to the application stack. And as you can imagine, the more modules you add, the more insights are provided in the application stack when you're using it to understand health as well as troubleshoot your application. So I wanted to just do a quick timeout and talk about Orion and the shared services. So you heard me talk a lot about AppStack. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it as we get closer to the end, but the performance stack. So if you think about the AppStack, I'm getting a visualization that lets me put the region, the groups, containers, the applications, the servers, the database instances, all the way down. So from the elements of the stack, I can see them side by side and their relationships. The perf stack does the same thing for metrics. So when you think about the metrics you get from a server, whether it be capacity metrics or application performance or latencies or response times or log events or configuration changes, the perf stack lets you put all that stuff, drag and drop side by side, and you can do a lot of analysis. I was just talking to one of our larger customers that they actually get together with cross departments in a conference room when they're troubleshooting a major problem, and they've got both of these things up on a screen helping them as they troubleshoot what's going on. Now, the Orion maps, that's another great thing that gives you another visualization. It lets you create a dashboard with physical icons, whether they be regional overlays. And again, just another way to make it easy for you to understand the health of your environment. Platform dashboards, I talked about alerting, and then of course, scalability. I mean, the network side, over 1 million elements, and then on the system side with SAM, 550,000 nodes before you have to put in a second Orion instance. And then of course, we have an enterprise console. So, we can go from the very smallest, startup companies to the very largest enterprises. But the functions that each module provides, SAM, I look at as like a general practitioner. Virtualization manager is a specialization like a cardiologist, or SRM, or DPA for database. Those are your specialists, and together it provides you a real comprehensive view of what's going on. So in summary, what's important about the AppStack and leveraging it? Again, it's a shared service. It's going to help save you time. It's going to make you smarter, keep your boss happy. And it's going to help you keep your systems up and running. The more modules you add to it, the more valuable it is. For those of you not familiar with SolarWinds, the experience baked into the products, the breadth and depth of the functionality in each of those modules, and then leveraging the shared services like the AppStack that we just talked about today, the combination of all those things provides a pretty strong solution, whether you're talking on-prem or in the cloud or some combination. So I'm going to go to questions now. I just wanted to share with you guys that in this presentation, I do have examples for each of the modules and highlighting what functions they provide. But what's really cool is there's two PDFs that are available to you that Rich can point you to. One is an info sheet that has all that information, so it makes it clear exactly which module provides which content for the AppStack. And then there's also an infographic, and normally you think, oh, infographics are all markety. Well, it's a really nice visualization with basically a commentary in the right column that takes you through troubleshooting with the AppStack and the different modules that contribute to helping you understand how to solve a complex web application problem. So we've got about 2 minutes for questions. Rich,
Okay.
Let's see here. Let's move over to the Q&A.
So let me. So first question is Gary, and if you have additional questions, folks, please type them in the question section. I'll ask them. Gary wants to know, can you configure two-factor authentication? And also, folks, those handouts he's talking about are in the handout section of this platform. If you click on those handouts, you can snag them. You're able to download them. But Gary wants to know, can you configure two-factor authentication?
So that's a great question, and it's funny. I'm at a loss because it depends on which products we were talking about. Um, Most of our products provide that capability, but I'm gonna have to follow up with the group on to make sure I'm specific on the Orion platform versus some of the other add-ons to Orion.
And folks, if you have any other questions, by all means, we probably can take one more. Don't forget, download the handouts that are in the platform. They're there for you, the info sheets and infographic. Just go there, click on them, and you'll be able to download them. If you do have additional questions, but just did not want to verbalize those or type those in for us to answer right at the moment, you can reach out to us at 844 Flycast. That's 844-359-2278. In addition, you can also chat with us live. During normal business hours and East Coast time. Our IT experts, they're standing by for you on our chat on our website. They're happy to answer any questions you have, or you can email us at info@flycastpartners.com. Folks, it doesn't look like, we have people saying they like your handouts, Pete. That's a good thing.
All right. But by the way, let me just make a comment. All SolarWinds products will provide two-factor authentication. I just off the top of my head, I'm not sure exactly, and we're making some changes in how we do it. Rich, how would I get that answer back to the group? Is there a way to do that?
Yeah, what we can do is if you can send the answer to me, and I can go ahead and send that out, so we can get that answer back to them.
Great,
Not
because
a
we have a
problem at
pretty
all,
good
because
group here, and that's just on me, but I should have been prepared for that. But I
we have
know
a
as a
question.
fact, go ahead.
We do have another question that just came in that I'd like to know real quick. How can you guard against API misconfigurations on the platform?
So when you're saying, uh, I'm trying to make sure I understand the question. You say, how can you avoid misconfiguring? Are we talking about like the SAM API poller and misconfiguring it? Or are we talking about just one of the general APIs or one of the other integration capabilities we have through WMI or SNMP?
Valerian, if you can go ahead and type in what you're looking for there, and Pete can better answer your question. The other question that came up: do you provide free proof of concept?
So all of our products, all of the Orion products have a 30-day free trial. So, and again, you've got the Interact demo you can look at with our data. You can download, again, 30-day trial of a variety of the products. And then after that, if you needed some more time, you could work with one of our sales reps if you needed more time, but definitely you get a 30-day free trial. The other thing you asked on the API, so obviously with our API puller specifically, with regards to the credentials, that's a key element of our API puller just to get access to bring in other data. As far as, I'm not sure how we can guard against misconfiguring if without understanding exactly what we mean by misconfiguring.
Okay,
By the way,
here's some clarification. The API misconfigurations as it relates to IAM and malicious insider threats.
all right, I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one as well. By the way, my email is peter.distefano, DISTEFANO at solarwinds.com. If any one of you individually wants to just send me those, I will get you a detailed response on that as
We
well.
we also already have all your information, folks. We have your emails and who's asked what, and we'll make sure that we get those emailed back to you as well. And as far as the proof of concept, one of our representatives is more than happy to work with you, Ken, to help you out with that and get you the trial that Pete's talking about. But any additional questions, by all means, email us. As I stated before, you can call us, you can chat with us. We'll get you the information you're looking for. We're happy to help you out with trials. We're happy to help you out with demos, whatever it is that you're looking for. And I want to thank you, Peter, for the time today. Thank you.
My pleasure. My apologies for not being able to answer the two great questions we got, but we'll get that to you. And I appreciate everyone spending the time. I hope this was insightful.
Yeah, thank you, folks, for taking time out of your busy schedule. We had quite the crowd today, and I appreciate everyone taking your time away from your busy IT world to listen to us talk today and talk about AppStack. And we appreciate the fact that you love the handouts. A lot of people have said they love those handouts, so good stuff. With that being said, until our next broadcast, I'm going to wish everyone a great rest of your week.